GTM Podcast 38 Blessing of Life Blessing 10 Speaking Kindly Part 3. Hello everyone. You are listening to GTM Podcast. We hope you enjoy and benefit from listening to our podcast so far. And in this episode, it is the conclusion part of Blessing 10, which is illustrative example. There are a few stories that can benefit and make you understand more in depth of this blessing. If you have not listened to the previous episode yet, go back so that way it can help you understand more in these illustrative examples. Metaphor. A fish lives and dies because of its mouth. A fish can have long life dependent on its mouth, which is used to feed. However, because the self-same mouth and its greed for breath, it swallows the hook which brings its life to an end. In the same way, if we use our mouth for artful speech, it can bring us success and prosperity in life. But sometimes, even a word of unwholesome speech from the same mouth can cost us our lives as well. Metaphor. It is not just knowing the right thing to say. A smart person is not a person who knows when to say the right thing. They must also know when to keep their silence. A knowledge of the things not to be said is more important for an artful speaker, even more than a knowledge of the things to be said. Example story. Condemned man who said too much. The less you say, the less risk you run of saying something foolish, even dangerous. In 1825, a new Tsar, Nicholas I, ascended the throne of Russia. A rebellion immediately broke out, led by the rebels demanding that the country modernize, that its industry and civil structures catch up with the rest of Europe. Brutally crushing the rebellion, Nicholas I sentenced one of its leaders, Dmitry Ryleyev, to death. I hope I speak the name right. If I say it wrong, please forgive me. On the day of the execution, Ryleyev stood on the gallows, the noose round his neck. The trapdoor opened, but as Ryleyev dangled, the rope broke, dashing him to the ground. At the time, events like these were considered signs of providence or heavenly will, and a man saved from the execution this way was usually pardoned. As Ryleyev got to his feet, bruised and dirty, but believed his neck had been saved, he called out to the crowd, "You see, the Russians, they don't know how to do anything properly, not even how to make a rope." A messenger immediately went to the Winter Palace with news of the failed hanging. Vexed by this disappointing turnabout, Nicholas I nevertheless began to sign the pardon. But then, did Ryleyev say anything after this miracle? The Tsar asked the messenger. "Tsar," the messenger replied, "he said that in Russia they don't even know how to make a rope." In that case," said the Tsar, "let us prove the contrary." And he tore up the pardon. The next day, Ryleyev was hanged again. This time, the rope did not break. Moral from this event: Once the words are out, you cannot take them back. Keep them under control. Be particularly careful with sarcasm. The momentary satisfaction you gain with biting words will be outweighed by the price you pay. Example story. Nantivisala Jataka. A tale which has become most famous as one of the Aesop tales. In fact, originates from the Jataka tales of Nantavisala, the ox, which pulled 100 carts for a wager. This young ox was miraculously strong ever since it was born, and so the owner had the ox pull 100 carts. When he found that the ox could pull the carts, the owner made the ox's ability subject to a wager to a millionaire who didn't believe it. However, when it came to the time to prove the bet, the master said, "Go ahead and pull the carts, ox." Because the ox didn't like the direct language, it refused to move. Even oxen have feelings. Thus, the owner lost the bet. Later, the owner made a second bet, spoke politely to the ox, and won the wager, making a profit. Example story. Mamsa Jataka. There were once 4 sons of a millionaire who want to compare their skills of persuasion and compete with each other in asking for meat from the cart of a butcher. When the 4 brothers saw the butcher's cart, they thought to themselves that they would like to eat some meat, and they decided to see who could persuade the butcher to give them some meat. The first son shouted out to the butcher, "Hey butcher, bring me some meat." The butcher was a kindly man, and he said, "Of course, but because your words are not sweet to my ears." He threw the boy some trotters. Everybody asked him why he gave the boy trotters, and he replied that trotters are tough and have no taste, just like the words of one who has requested them. The second son said, "My brother, give me some of your meat to eat." Because the second son had the respect to call him his brother, then he cut off some choice meat to give him. The third son said, "Oh my father, please give me some of your meat to eat." Because the third son has the respect to call him his father, he cut the heart out of an ox to give to him. The fourth son said, "My friend, please give me some of your meat to eat." The butcher heard his words and felt pleased. He said that, "When our ages are so similar like this, it is closest to the truth and say that we are friends. To call me father is too much. To call me friend is the most appropriate." So with those words, he gave the horn of his cart to the fourth son. The fourth son was true to his word and took the butcher to his house. He said, "If you have this much generosity to me, then I will be generous to you too. Come and live here if you like. I have a reasonable amount of wealth to my name. Therefore, if any one of your friends are in distress, just tell me and I will help." Well, it turned out that the butcher had a few unpaid debts, so he was able to pay all those off. The fourth son was a friend to the butcher for the rest of his life. This is the benefit accrued to the fourth son, who didn't speak harshly or patronizingly, but appropriately to the truth of the situation. And thus everyone, We hope you learn how speaking kindly can be benefit because our words that come off from our mouth can be benefit and danger to us, depend on how you choose to speak. We will continue again in the next episode. Blessing 11. Support your parents. Now, why supporting our parents is benefit and considered as part of the blessing in life? To some culture, it may be quite different. But well, let's find that out in the next episode. If you like the program, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, so that way can help to supporting our program. If you'd like to contribute, please let us know. See you again. Until then.